We're living in a time where identity and gender has become one of the most confusing conversations of our generation. People are asking questions about who they are, what their gender is, or if they should be in a particular body because they feel so different that they were meant to be a boy, but later found themselves in a girl's body, or they were meant to be a girl and now they're in a boy's body. And so because of what they see, they've discovered about themselves, they will do whatever it takes to change that. And I think, isn't it clear enough that it's just two genders we have, a male and a female? And where are the many 70 plus genders that people are associating themselves with coming from? People are waking up and deciding to go through surgery to correct what they think is wrong about their genders, and being transgenders and all that. You see, this conversation around how many genders there are, what's one's identity or one's sexuality, this confusion about all this is just one of the worries we have. And it isn't all there is, right? There's this confidence in which people carry this belief with them by saying things that clearly don't add up with how life actually works. And it's like we've reached a point where asking questions isn't about finding real answers, like actual answers anymore. It's now more about finding people who agree with whatever answer you already want to believe, which is wild when you think about it. You'd see two guys say that they love themselves romantically and would want to date and marry themselves. And even with the ladies, like loving your fellow gender, like not in a friendship kind of way or type of way, but more of a romantic way. And that somehow would only lead to them being married. But in the midst of all of this, they'll still be looking for a child in the relationship or marriage. Because I know that bringing a child into this world is as a result of when a man and a woman are intimate sexually. It's not even funny anymore that people do certain things around this issue. Because the only way I know of in which children are being birthed is through the intimacy of a man and a woman coming together. Or is there no other way that I'm not aware of? Because sometimes I do ask myself that when I see things around this issue. Because whether it was 200 years ago or presently, a baby, a child still comes from a man and a woman. It's still sperm and egg, it's still male and female. And even with all the scientific advancements, IVF, ICSI, all the technology that assists conception, this foundation never changes. The roles never swap. It's still the same two contributors that confirms the fact that there are only two reproductive gametes that create human life, one from the male and one from the female. And if that reality has existed through every generation and every scientific breakthrough, then it should tell you something about how grounded it actually is. Like even with transgender, I don't know if that's the right word, from a woman to a man, I haven't seen any odd trend to biology, right? Because that same called newfound man that was originally a woman, I've not seen that woman produce a child. And even if that happens, it's telling you that there was an alteration from the original design. You know, before you come, that is, you did something to it, right? You tried to change it. That's why it happened that way. You're not being conditioned if you think identifying as a man or woman, or even male or female, as you should, is messed up. No. When you think differently, you'll find yourself getting attracted to your fellow gender and you don't know why. Then there are questions you need to ask on how those feelings came about, right? Sometimes I wonder what the first man and woman were thinking when they wanted to swap their sex or gender to male or female and vice versa. Or even identifying as the self-acclaimed 70 plus genders people created. I wonder what went through the person or person's mind, because honestly, in every book, be it history, every generation, civilization that has been studied, the structure has always been man and woman, male and female. And this isn't even a case of you lie to is a lie and people have not seen the truth yet, that's why they're saying it's just male and female. No, it's not even about that. And we can see that movies today, that a bigger cause of this issue is rare now to see movies that don't talk about this issue of transgender and these self-acclaimed genders, binary, this and that. I want someone named agenda, like gender putting A in front of me. This is actually gradually corrupting the minds of our young ones. Our cartoons too are not safe. Imagine if a child that is growing up consumes these lies that have been told and doesn't have someone to guide them. I won't say stop them, because you can try your best to tell them that they should go and switch up the TV to other stations without addressing the reason why they shouldn't watch such. Right? They might also go behind your back and do it when you're not around, right? And they start exploring more things behind your back. So it's better you just tell them, like, guide them, coach them, and whatever. Because the world is a noisy place. Children pick up things. Haven't you seen when you say something and maybe the next few days or so, your child starts saying that thing? So you have to be careful. They might pick it up and think that is the new normal. So imagine a growing child or a child growing up keeps consuming movies that already has this confusion we are trying to correct. That alone will be that social construct that people say that that will build up in their mind to tell them that changing the agenda or getting married to the agenda is right. But if you're living with a man and a woman will give it to your parents, what other proof do you need? This whole confusion is the real social construct and not people saying that there are more genders apart from man, a male or a female, or two guys getting married or two ladies getting married. That alone is a social construct, a negative one at that, if you ask me. It corrupts our young ones, and yeah, maybe I can relate to the fact that peer pressure to try something new can happen. And trying something new is supposed to be something that will better yourself, not this. Yes, trauma can also change how you see yourself. You might be one way or the other. And the fact that the ones that probably have accepted these lies can molest innocent ones and they start thinking differently and the cycle goes on and on. But here's what I want to say. If you feel you're not supposed to be in your body, but to be another gender or be part of the self-acclaimed 70 plus genders of the life that has been told, I want you to slow down, because every decision you take now that tries to rewrite biology will eventually meet up with you again. You can argue with opinions, silence conversations, or even change your appearance, but you can't permanently change the truth of design. You need to ask yourself if this confusion is coming from your environment or from the voices you've been listening to. At first, you would want to defend your newfound ideology. It's natural that you would, but I want you to shun that defense mechanism. Instead, pause, ask better questions, trace the roots, challenge the negative influences, because the moment you start doing that, you realize that you were never confused. You were just surrounded by too many confident theories that didn't have grounded and confident foundations. So if you are still looking for proof, there's biological evidence, the scriptures, the way life has always worked. This isn't a situation of an upgrade to a system like the way iPhone releases new series almost every year, or most softwares wanting to make you get a pro package plan of their products or services. So to anyone listening who has ever felt pressured to name themselves something that contradicts this foundation of life itself, I want you to know this: you don't have to carry these borrowed conclusions. You can drop them, you can question them, you can even laugh at the audacity of how convincing some of these narratives sound, because half of the things confusing these generations are not even new discoveries, to be honest. People are contradicting themselves and being confident about the lies they are spreading. So if you're struggling with identity, gender, sexuality, or even the pressure to adopt a new label every time you open your phone, like scroll through social media, I want you to know that you don't have to stay stuck in the struggle. There are ways out, and I'll tell you the ones you can work with, which will make you feel like you have to destroy yourself or be hidden or feel ashamed that there's nothing else you can do, because I know that deep down you would want to change. Right? Maybe you've invested in it so long and you realize that this is not the right way to live, but you're so scared to come out or change, or how the world look at you or whatever. I want you to know that one of the first things you can do, right, is to separate yourselves from those influences, right? People that are influencing you for a while. Like, separate yourself from them. Like, that's something that will be enough to silence what you hear. Because when you're always consuming opinions, suggestions, theories, narratives without a break, it becomes almost impossible to tell where you really stand. Remember, movies too are influences, so know where to draw the line in consuming movies that promote all these fake truths around sexuality, identity, and gender. So another thing is to ask questions that go deeper than just the surface level, not just why do I feel this way, but instead you should ask questions around when did I start feeling this way? What influenced it? Who and what shaped this idea in my life? What moments made me doubt myself? What hurts me? Like, because most of the time, there's a timestamp of when something developed within us, either consciously or subconsciously. It didn't start with when you were born, right? It started with an experience the influences, online influencers you follow, powerful voices you hold or you held in high esteem, or in moments you didn't fully hear from, right? Then you test those answers with actual truth. I don't know how to put it, right? Books, scriptures, history. There are enough witnesses alone that has existed long before you and I existed, right? And we still exist long after us, right? Because if your conclusion is making you feel like you have to fight biology, rewrite history, argue with creation itself, then that conclusion deserves more questioning, if you ask me. And also, if it is part of your life, then you don't treat scripture like something you use to win an argument. You treat it like something you can use to find yourself again, to keep reminding you of your design, your origin, your foundation, in a way that doesn't change with each passing trend or shift in culture. And let me add to this, right? Find someone safe enough to talk to, someone who isn't trying to force a narrative on you, someone who isn't telling you what you want to hear, or someone that would let you talk out your struggle, then trying to bring you down. Because half of the healing journey is being able to speak freely without someone rushing to label your pain. And also, you don't solve internal battles with external ones. Surgery is not a therapy, right? In case you say you feel you're supposed to be another body, right? The moment you realize that, you stop fighting your body like it betrayed you or something, right? Instead, fight the influences, the things you heard, the voices, fight it. And lastly, give yourself the grace to unlearn. There's indeed strength in correcting the lies you were told with healing, and you returning to what was and is always going to be true before you actually burst into this confusion state about this topic over fake truths that's been sold to or is still selling to you and even the world at large, right? And with that, I'll leave you to process it all because I don't want this episode to be longer than this, right? So till I come away again, this is Cultured and Not Confused podcast. Consider this as a Boxing Day gift from me to you. Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year ahead. See you in the next one.